Okay, we're on.
All right.
Oh, yay! So, welcome to another edition of Interview with Irene. Today, I have the beautiful and talented Briana Hansen, who is an actress and comedian in Los Angeles. And Brianna, why don't we start with a little about your background?
Sure. So, originally from Indiana, and I think that has shaped. I'm gonna put it in headphones. I'm realizing I can't. I'll do it. Okay, improvise. It's all good. Um. Okay, great. Now we're here. So I'm originally from Indiana, and I have always been a bit of a ham. But in the Midwest, you don't realize that you can make money off being a ham as much as you do maybe on the coasts. And so I got involved and interested in writing young and performing young, and just kind of stubbornly figured out my way through it, basically.
Oh, that's so cool. So, what particularly drew you into comedy?
I love connection. I love people connecting, and I find that I was actually interested in both comedy and politics, and still have a passing interest in politics because I like people a lot. But I found that politics is so divisive,
Right.
and comedy is such a kind of a healing thing. It's like you can disagree all you want on where money should be spent or what moral values are, but we all poop and pee. And we all like to laugh. So it's kind of like
True.
it becomes more of the thing that combines people. So that's what I think I loved most. And then I found I was had a kind of a knack for it. It made me feel good. So
Wonderful. And also, I enjoy reading your blog. Could you tell us a little about that?
sure, I every week on Wednesday, because one of my writing heroes, Stephen Pressfield, also has a blog out on Wednesdays, so I just stole it from him. But for years, I was writing a blog just more regularly for fun, and now I do it just once a week. And I think I do it just because I have to. Like, I feel the need to self-express in that way. If nothing else, it gets writer's block out really nicely.
Right.
Kind of forces me to write something because the stakes are very low. No one's paying me. It doesn't matter. Um, and so it also makes me think some sort of reflection about my week and to figure out a way to make that lighthearted.
Mm, yeah, and I noticed like after reading some of your posts, it also helps me get through whatever I'm going through too. So
Oh, thank you. Good. That's what I hope for.
I'm sure it helps a lot of people that way. Yeah. So, like, is there anyone who inspires you or anyone you would like to work with in the
Oh,
entertainment industry?
of course. There's so many people. There's so many amazing people putting out incredible work right now. I'm sorry, my dog. They're part of my world. If you read my blogs or follow anything,
I,
they're very famous back there. Bonnie and Clyde. Other than Bonnie and Clyde, who are my inspiration, I would say Clyde. No, I'm so sorry. I would say I think Mindy Kaling is doing incredible work. I really admire her for breaking down barriers and for being really attentive to creating space for diversity and more women, and often diverse women in that as well. She's also just an incredible triple threat producer, actor, writer. She's funny as hell. And then Elizabeth Banks, I think, is actually another person who creates really awesome content. It's sort of on the cutting edge of things, and it just really seems really down to earth and honest. So those are two.
I like her too.
Yeah.
So, any other hobbies? Or
I'm obsessed with yoga, which if you read my weekly blog, almost always comes up. Yeah, so I that's probably it. And then my dogs are the other hobby. And I hate being the person who's like, especially because I'm not from Los Angeles. So to be like, oh, I yoga and I'm obsessed with my dogs is the most LA thing to say in the world. And I'm just like, that's why place is my home, is because I'm stereotype here, but I love them and we go hiking together. I guess my husband sort of, but less so. Mostly my dogs and yoga.
So cute. Actually, that was my next question. Could you talk a little more about your dog?
Could I? How much time do we have?
All the time you.
uh, well, right now they're feisty because they just ate, and so after they eat, they attack each other for a while. So this is like good and bad timing because it's like I could have waited, but then they're feisty before they eat. So anyway, my dogs' name are Bonnie and Clyde. They are the Outpaws on with a Z on Instagram. Bonnie has her own. She's Aussie Poo Bonnie to do because she's a little older. But they're really fun. I've always been a huge dog lover, sort of obsessive about it. And so I always wanted a dog. And when I was able to start creating the type of world I wanted for myself, like I was working from home more, I was actually making money, all these things, I was like, we have to get a dog immediately because we have a lifestyle for it right now. So we did. And then we fell in love. And pretty soon we got Clyde. My husband always wanted a male dog named Clyde. But we found Bonnie first. And I was like, that's my dog. And so we got Bonnie, and then he saw Clyde, and he's like, that's my dog. And they're the best of friends. And thank you for asking me about them. I'm obsessed.
That's so good. I love dogs too, and so did my mom. So I think I take after my mom. But
Yeah.
hopefully, right now I'm a bit busy, but hopefully eventually I'll get another dog. But
Yeah. They are a lot of time commitment. And my boy has separation anxiety. And so he's like even more time commitment. So, but you know what? Like when I go for my midday walk with them, it clears my head. Like I got off a call earlier, I had like a meeting and I just pet my one girl for a while. And it's just like so grounding and so nice.
oh, nice. And actually, you got married last year, I believe.
I
Did
did.
it? Congratulations. So, how
Thank
is
you.
married life?
It's awesome. I mean, I'm glad I waited till this guy. I think that it's not the way I look at it, it's like anything else. It's probably not for everyone if you do it, but if it's for you and you found someone that you want to do it with who aligns in all the ways that you want, then it's awesome. Like we want the same things. He's so supportive. He's helped me become more professional in my career. He's really like I try and belittle myself because it's that Midwesterner coming out where it's like, oh, this little thing, it's not a big deal. And he kind of just doesn't let me. And so that's really nice to live with that.
Wonderful. So, any advice for future writers or actors?
Yes, my advice is just do it. Meaning, like, I understand writer's block is a thing that people struggle with. I'm not like belittling when you have it. I just think sometimes action begets action, just like physics wise. And know that when you are, like my hero Stephen Pressfield says, know that when you're in the act of creating, it may not be as tangible as when you physically do something, but for every action, there's a reaction. So as you're creating, if you feel like this stifleness, like I can't, or you feel like you're procrastinating, it's really tough to get started. That's partly in response to all the creation because it's like procrastinate. You know, there's like a response that happens. So just do it. Just do something poorly. Rather create something and have it be bad that you can fix the next day, but at least you did it, than spend too much time in our head because then that little monster and mutant gets big and, you know, it's just like you can't, then perfectionism hits and it's just like, just do it. Just do things. Right, Bonnie? Yeah, that's
They agree, yes.
right.
Um, would you like to explore any other genres, like maybe drama, science fiction, or?
So I like infusing comedy into other genres. I probably TV wise, I probably write darkish comedies, but they're not necessarily dramatic. Oh my gosh, my dog. But I love infusing other. I think comedy is just like a really fun, great tool to add to other places. So I have like a comedy western. I'm obsessed with sci-fi just in general. I think sci-fi is so cool. And so I write as much sci-fi as I can. I love action, thrillers. And I also just strongly believe, and it's coming out in a lot of the stuff that's being created, that comedy and horror are like weird cousins of each other. All these comedians are creating great horror films and like taking over the horror genre. And so I haven't explored it necessarily because I'm a wimp, but I love ghosts. So there's a possibility there. So yeah.
I'm sure you'll work with Stephen King one day. I
That'd
would be
be
surprised.
awesome. That's so awesome.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. This was definitely so awesome and so glad I finally got to talk to you.
I know. Thank you. Thank you for being so supportive online too. Sometimes it feels like you're just screaming into a void. So I think it's awesome you're creating this content. I think it's so cool that you just reach out to people and, you're doing it and you've got these awesome books, including a book about dogs on your bookshelf that I can see right back there. So like, you have my utmost respect and I really appreciate you reaching out. I'm glad we could make a time.
Thank you so much, and hopefully we can do this again sometime.
I would love that.
Me too. Okay, have a
Okay.
good. I'll just done.